So, you grew up in Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How often do you see wild animals?
What? What?
Never?
Never. No, I don't. No. I never even went to a zoo before in Nigeria.
Sorry. Hola, buenas tardes y bienvenidos a nuestro canal Familia Pablanu. Este es aún otro episodio de One on One with Pablanu. Estoy aquí en un día muy bonito de otoño, un poco fresquito, por eso se nota que está un poco tapada esta señora hermosísima que es mi esposa amada. Y vamos a hacerle una entrevista, ya que ella ha hecho bastantes entrevistas con otra gente durante las últimas semanas, entonces ahora le toca a ella. Entonces vamos a comenzar, voy a hacerle varias preguntas sobre su vida y vamos a aprender un poco sobre ella, quizá algunas cosas que ni siquiera yo sepa. Entonces, mi amor, y voy a hablar un poco en inglés, bueno, todo en inglés, para que sea más entendible para todos y para nuestros televidentes. So, Han, what is your earliest memory? And kind of what age were you? Do you know that? And we might have to speak loudly because of the wind.
Oh, okay. Earliest memory. No, I don't remember. I remember they told me that story. It was me and my sister. Every time we lived in a vicarage back in Nigeria. So I think I was probably around 3 years old. I don't remember this, but they told me about it. But that was not my memory then. But anyways, they said
that's how some memories are, right? People tell you stories and suddenly they're like, oh yeah, I remember that.
I remember that. So it was me. I was 3 years old, and my sister. Every time they go to a morning service at like 5 a.m. and I already maybe wet the bed. You know, I was only 3 years old. So I remember my sister grabbing my hand, what they told me, and taking me to the vicarage. And then my mom said the first thing she would smell was smelling pee, and then she had to look back in the congregation. There we were, me and my sister holding hand in hand. 5 a.m., in the morning service. So, and then when it ended, the day began, and she'd help us out and all that stuff. But that was, I do remember, I think I was 6 years old though. This was 6 years old. Or 5 years old, I grabbed a little hen, a baby hen, and I remember people shouting, drop it, what are you doing, drop it. I was like, I like this baby, I like the small animals. And the mother hen was flapping towards me, really running really fast. They kept saying, drop it. I'm like, no. And before I knew it, that mother hen flew on my face and pecked me right there. I don't know which one, and then drawed some blood, and I'm so glad it wasn't in my eyeball. It was really close to my eyeball. So when it did that, I actually dropped it really fast. I ran away. After that, I was always scared of big mother hen because they're very, very protective of their little.
And you still have a scar, don't you?
I still do. Yeah, it's one of the cheeks. Yeah.
Wow, what a story. So that was your first, I guess, memory, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know how old you were roughly?
I think I was 5.
5?
Okay. Almost 6, yeah.
Okay. So my next question is just kind of in general, what was it like growing up in Nigeria? Like, as a child, before going to school, things like that. What was it like, I guess, in your childhood and early school years in general? Like, if you had to sum it up and maybe contrast to the United States or something.
Oh gosh, it was okay. It was fun, I suppose. I remember, this is one of my earliest memories. It was nice in the sense that people knew us because my father was a reverend in the local village. And me coming from school or just walking because they forgot to pick me up or something like that. So I just, walk all the way home, and one of the church members would give us a ride home. And yeah, it was very pleasant actually. Well, growing up back then compared to what it is now, it was really nice back then. You can walk, you can, freely go about and you have friends, and it was really fun back then. We didn't have indoor times. We don't sit in the living room trying to play because there's no toys to play with.
And it's hot.
Oh,
right?
yeah, it
You'd
was
be
always
sweating.
hot. Yes.
No
So
air conditioning. Yeah.
we're always out playing with other kids and just
That's
having
good.
the best time of our lives. And yeah, we really enjoyed childhood. It was really fun. And school too, we had fun. And well, with what I've seen compared to America here, where kids are always, you either have a park where you go play, or they have their toys in the house and they just watch TV and do all that stuff. It's a little bit more sad looking if you ask me.
Not as much community maybe between kids.
Right, yes.
So what did you like? Did you learn things from other kids?
Oh yes, all the childhood plays.
Like games and stuff.
Games
or
we learned from friends and other things too. Actually,
like songs.
A lot of songs, a lot of life lessons. I remember it was my friend who told me, "Oh yeah, you know where babies come from?" I'm like, no, because I went to ask my mom later on. I think I was 7 years old, and she was like, "Babies come from your side," and I'm like, "Okay, I have to leave that." But then I figure out that it was probably not from the side. It has to be from the belly button because, it has to be somewhere there. It can't be the side. But it was friends at school that told me, what's wrong with you? No, it doesn't come from, no. And I was shocked when they told me. Anyway, so things like that.
Taboos.
We learn from friends, yeah.
Yeah,
taboos,
so lots of taboos, and so you learn from friends more than family.
Right.
Yeah, I think that kind of happens in a lot of countries, especially the US.
And because there was a little bit of a gap between me and my sister, about almost 3 years gap, so we didn't really, she had her friends and I had mine, and we didn't really get that childhood, kind of like our children will have because they're really close together. I didn't really have that growing up, so I had my friends and hers. It wasn't too bad. It was okay. When people are seeing it in the TV, like, oh my God, they're so suffering. They're, Africa, they're, poverty and all that stuff. I'm like, we had the best time. I mean, we invented toys. If you can think it, you can make it. We invented all these toys and we had fun. Nature was our friend, which was our play place, and it was amazing. We had fun.
Yeah, that was similar to how I grew up, except because like you said, the culture here, there's not as much community between like neighbors and other kids, and so although we had some of that, it was mainly our family. So yeah, similar. I mean, yeah, you used your imagination, and nature was our plaything. We would go out to the woods and build things and play with things. So yeah, I understand that.
It was nice.
So from that aspect, I guess you're thinking of like peers, what it's like to be a kid, playing games, things like that. But what about interactions like with adults and in school with teachers and things like that? Like,
it was definitely, it's definitely different. I mean, growing up, you're a child. There's a respect thing with the adults where you don't really talk, you don't really question adults. When they tell you something, you cannot question them. You obey and just respectfully go with it or whatever. Even at school, it comes in play at school. When teachers ask you, 1 + 1 is 4, and this is how you get that 4. Do you understand? I mean, many children might know that, no, that's not 4, that's 2. But they say, is it clear? Yes, ma. Do you understand? Yes, ma. No one dare ask questions or speak up. I mean, once in a while, maybe some people.
and if they say, "Do you have any questions?" They no, ma.
we don't.
No, sir. Yeah.
We don't ask questions, but once in a while, maybe a student would do, and speak for everyone else and all that. But there's mostly, generally, you don't talk, you don't ask questions, you don't challenge. When they tell you something, you just go with it, and because part of the respect, you
Right.
don't want to ask them it's disrespectful.
Right.
Questioning adults. you
Right.
know?
Yeah. And I guess like in Ayo's interview, he was
Yeah.
saying, you don't look adults in the eye. Right? You don't look elders in the eye.
Oh, when they talk, you bow
look
and then
down.
you look down and
Yeah.
you know.
Look away. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sign of respect. I mean, it's a challenge if you're looking at them in the
Right.
eyes, like you're challenging, especially if you're talking to them about asking questions and you're looking at them. Oh, that's a
Huh.
challenge.
Interesting.
Yeah, like what, you're challenging me. Yeah. So I guess the relationship, and then I see here when we came to America, it's different because kids actually talk to their older, they actually talk anyhow, and they ask questions and they just say anything. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is wow. There's a little bit of freedom in that sense.
Yeah.
You can talk to adults and not be worried that you're gonna get spanked. Yeah. It doesn't even matter if it's it doesn't have to be your parents. Anybody can spank you if you disrespect.
Takes a village to spank a child.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But the teachers sometimes were even harsher than that, right? It wasn't just a simple spanking.
Oh no. If you're, I mean, if you did do something really bad, I mean, they go above and beyond. I mean, sometimes the parents will actually come back. Oh, thank you for spanking my child because you're instilling good morals in him. Yeah, I remember when a teacher broke my arm when I think I was probably 6, 7. I don't remember the age. Just because I forgot to do my homework or something like that. Just spanked me with. Anyways.
But
Yeah.
she was kind of out to get you anyways, right?
Yeah, maybe because I don't know what her issues is. She was also pregnant and hormonal stuff. I don't know. But I remember my mom.
But that wasn't.
So
That's
angry.
not normal, right? That's not normal.
Not really. Not quite. Yeah. No. It's
Because
not.
your mom was not like, oh, thank you for breaking my
oh
child's
gosh,
arm.
no. She went there furious. Like, what
Right.
is wrong with you, woman? Why did you do that? Anyways, but it's in general that they're able to spank and do all that stuff. If
corporal punishment.
and kids know it, so they better behave. And
Well, was it
teachers know
always
too.
corporal punishment, or were there other things?
There
that
are
were done?
there are punishment that doesn't mean spanking. There are like kind of
Like what?
kneel down, put your hands up, hold your ears, or jump up and down like a squat. Oh, there's so many. Or sit on the wall sit. More
right.
like you call it exercise.
Right.
But the thing is, if you fail to do it or you don't do it well, then you get spanked. But
Well, what about I know you said you were often late for school.
oh right.
So what was it? I guess walk me through your day when you were, I don't know, in middle school or later.
This was
elementary.
high school.
High school,
Yeah, middle school and
school.
high school. Yeah, I was always late. Me and my friend Basirat. I hope if she's hearing this, she was a very good friend, and she would wait for me, and because of me, she would be late too. And we would serve the same punishment together.
So she would come to your house and
knock yeah, she would be there early. Okay, it's time to go. I'm like, I'll call you 5 more minutes. Okay. By the time we get to school, we were already part of the latecomers. So we had our punishment was to grab cutlass. It's the dullest cutlass they have and now
machete. Really
yeah,
dull
cutlass,
machete.
really dull to now cut grass, and it's like elephant grass. You can be gnawing at this, cutting at this thing forever, and it doesn't cut. And you have blisters all over your hand. By the time you're done, you've missed the assembly, you missed first class, first lesson, maybe second lesson if it's that long, and so you have to.
And you're hungry.
Oh yeah, and it's almost time for lunch by that time. So you have to go and borrow the notes that you missed and ask students, what did I miss in this class and all that stuff. But that was not fun, but it was almost always, oh, poor Batsirat. Because of me, she was almost always late. Oh gosh. She was a really good friend though.
Yeah, it reminds me when we were recording and I would knock on the door and have to wait. Yep, I remember that. Remember those days. But so growing up, what languages did you speak? So what did you speak growing up in the house, and then what did you speak on the street, and then what did you speak in school? Like how did that work? What languages were they?
In the house, we always speak Yoruba. We always speak Yoruba.
So that was
and,
your first language.
first language, and we only speak Yoruba. Even to my parents, we speak Yoruba. But when we get to school, they call it as vernacular. Yeah, you're not allowed to speak it.
What's vernacular?
Vernacular is Yoruba.
Or whatever home language.
Yes.
Native language.
Native language. You're not allowed to speak it. You have to speak the national language, which is English. And if you get caught speaking Yoruba, you get fined. You have to, get spanked or some kind of punishment for that. But when we're going home, when we're done with school and all that, everyone's go back to either speaking Yoruba or speaking Pidgin if you're Igbo. But yeah, Pidgin, Yoruba.
So explain Pidgin. What is this?
I mean, it's Nigerian. What do you call it? Is it kind of local English? No, incomplete English. So there are some words in there which are probably Yoruba or some Igbo, some Hausa phrases in there, mixed with English that cannot be understood unless you're from that area. And it's Pidgin.
So and yeah, we have another video on this where you were testing my Pidgin, which is not very good at all. But not just exactly what Pidgin is, but where did you use it and how did you learn it? Do you even remember? Like, you didn't speak with your parents. You didn't speak it in the house.
I don't even remember learning it. I just know that I understand it. I don't understand. I don't know. And then I remember when we met and we're talking about this Pidgin. I said, "Don't you understand? It's pretty obvious what this means."
Well,
I want chop. And you're like, I don't know what you're meaning.
No, I knew that one because I learned that one in college.
Oh,
but yeah, other
stuff
I had no clue.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember because I asked you about it and you were like, yeah, it's just English. It's just, an English that you use on the street.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that's not English. I'm like, that's not English.
Don't you understand this?
I'm like, it might use some English words, but it's its own language. And I knew it was its own language because I had studied these things like in grad school. I'd studied, Pidgins, Creoles, things like that.
Right.
And it's not quite a Creole yet. It's still a Pidgin. Like, it's still doesn't have a full grammar yet necessarily. Or maybe it does. Maybe it is a Creole by now. But yeah, like it's not English. It's its own thing. That's like saying that Jamaican Creole is English. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not. Jamaican English is English. It's one English.
Right.
Nigerian English, which is what you learn in school, is English, but it's Nigerian English. So you would not say that Nigerian English and American English are the same, right?
But you understand it, right?
Right, but I would say it's even more different than say British English and American English. I would say it's even more different than that.
Right.
Because you have, word, like you said, some words and some phrases from local languages as well, some grammar that's influenced by local languages and stuff. Right. So it is English, but it's recognizably English. But Pidgin is not recognizably English. Unless someone hears like a word here and there and they're like, that sounds Englishy. But yeah. So but my question also was like where would you use that? You said if you're speaking with Igbo.
Well,
so Igbo people who have a different first language, right?
Yes, like markets in the marketplace. Yes, Igbo people, Hausa, and I mean, if it's Yoruba, of course they know Yoruba.
So different ethnic groups would speak to each other in that.
Right.
They wouldn't speak to each other in like Nigerian English.
No, if they are market sellers or, they might not have a formal education and not finish their education, so they'll only use Pidgin English. Okay. And everyone understands it because we're all in the same melting pot.
Okay. So Pidgin is Niger Pidgin is basically the Englishy thing that's the lingua franca between everyone, educated or not.
Right. Yes.
And then Nigerian English is what you would learn in school. So if you're educated, you can speak Nigerian English. And if you're even more educated, maybe more Britishy.
Yes.
Okay, like in Lagos.
Yeah, because if you're going to the market to buy stuff and you don't understand or you cannot speak in English, you cannot communicate with people. So you have to know it. So I guess it start from the early age, maybe when my mom would take us to the market to see how it's done, how to bargain and all that. I guess that is when I would hear them speak. She would talk to Igbo. She has Igbo students. You see, that was my former students, because she was a teacher. And then that one, was speaking, broken English and here and there. I'm like, oh, so you pick it up from an early age. So by the time I was 10 or time to go on an errand by myself, I'm already vast in the knowledge of pidgin English speaking. So yeah.
So what was some of the most common phrases that you would end up using in pidgin English?
I beg, give me alubosa 5 naira. And everyone know alubosa because the Hausa word. Alubosa is the Hausa word. I beg, onions. Oh yes. Give me alubosa 5 naira. Give 5 naira. Give 2 naira. Okay. I don't want them. I go somewhere else.
That sounds
my sister, make una
recognizable.
come. I go.
Okay, now
I go lower the price.
now you lost me.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
I was like, that sounds like okay, never mind. That's not quite. Yeah, it's one of those that you're like, I think I get it. No, I don't. Never mind. Yeah, that's interesting. So we talked about school, and you talked about some of the difference, I guess, between there and the U.S. when it came to school.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that you saw that might be different between schools in the U.S., like high school in the U.S. versus high school in Nigeria?
Well, I'm thankful I didn't go to high school in America.
Why is that?
Because of what I've seen on TV, if it's that bad. And also what Ayo, my brother, has told me about high school is just crazy. Everyone's just crazy. They don't understand they're trying to figure themselves out. At that age, and you're adolescent, you're still trying to figure yourself out anyways.
Right.
So
what
it's
made
difficult.
it easier
Well, I suppose
in Nigeria?
if everyone speaks the same language as you do, and everyone,
Well, I mean, here in most schools, or in a lot of schools, people all speak English at least fluently enough. If not all have English as a first language. In
that
some
is
cases.
true. I guess the culture is different. The culture of, I guess, people. The respect is also one thing. You respect your elders and all that, and
But did you have, because what you're talking about with schools in the U.S., especially high schools, what is the thing that weirds you out the most? Is it the lack of unity among the students? Like, is it the cliques, the groups they
I
have?
suppose not thinking about it, people here will see it and say, we had a hard life in Nigeria, which is probably a little bit true now thinking about it, because you get spanked for no reason, whatever is reason. But it's also a little bit different because people are, I guess, high school. I just see the kids are just, talking to their professors anyhow, their teachers anyhow, just, I don't know.
Well, at
not
the
to
risk
join
of
them.
putting words in your mouth, I remember words that you spoke, and it was about. I remember you, saying like on TV and just hearing about schools and high schools, how the cliques, right, all the different groups, and how they're like looking at each other. As, oh, that's that group and that's group. Like, did you have that, or were the classes fairly united? And was it because they're united against the teachers? Like, okay, there's us, and then there's the teachers. Is it like that, or?
For some part. I mean, people still have their sort of
groups, friend groups.
Of course, you have your friends, but at the end of the day, it is us versus this teacher, because they will say, okay, write names of people speaking Yoruba, speaking vernacular, people doing this and that. And when it comes to that, you have to be united against the leader or the teachers and stuff. So in that sense, there's
kind of like united in silence, like
I don't know.
No one did anything.
One's speaking
I don't know.
Yeah,
so you cover for each other. Okay.
And of course, there'll be once in a while where students like, I don't like you, I'm gonna rat you out and this and that. But for the most part, people stuck together.
So sometimes drama, but
yes.
But in general, you're all on the same team, more or less.
Yeah, we're on the same boat, basically.
And you told me that there were people from different ethnic backgrounds as well in your school, but from all the stories you told me, I've never heard them. It's like if they spoke Yoruba or if they spoke vernacular, or if they spoke pidgin well enough, then you didn't, like, they were accepted, right? For the most part.
Oh, yes. I mean, I had Hausa friends, I had Igbo friends, and I grew up in the southern part of Nigeria, where that is a Yoruba land, basically, in Ogun State.
So you're part of the majority, in other words.
Yes. So, yeah, people who are Igbo and Hausa, they come in, they have to assimilate, they speak Yoruba, and they speak it, well enough, they can have Igbo names or Hausa names. But no, they speak the language, they're part of us, so they're part of us.
So you don't remember any drama of like, oh, these Hausa girls or these, Igbo girls or something?
Not really. I know they were all my friends. I guess maybe because of my personality and stuff. I remember I've always been friends with everybody, from all different ethnic groups. So there were, Hausa and Igbo, love. And then we can communicate. They speak Yoruba or Pidgin or whatever. So we're like, oh yeah, we're friends. We're cool. We're, no, there wasn't that kind of drama. I suppose.
So there weren't any that didn't speak Yoruba. There weren't any that were like only speaking Pidgin, for example. That you remember? Like no Igbos that spoke only Pidgin?
No.
Okay.
No, none I can think of.
And kind of adding to this fact of unity and everything like that was the fact that there were no boys, right?
Oh, yes, that is true. I went to a girls-only high school and middle school.
Is that common? Is that common that they're separate like that?
Yes, there's
even public school.
Yes, there's a lot of boys' schools and girls' schools. No, common for middle school and high school, not for primary school.
So primary school, it's everyone.
Yes, it's everybody.
And there were boys with your school too.
Right, at primary school they were, and as soon as we get to middle school, everyone goes their separate ways. Some schools are like that where there's boys and girls.
And what did they do with the girls? Like, because I mean, you weren't a boy, so you weren't in like boys' school, so you don't really know, necessarily what all happened there with them. But with you all, what was different? Like, they separated you all from the boys. They had girls' schools.
Girls' schools, yes.
But what else was different, do you think?
In our school, having just the girls.
Yeah, like what other things did they do just the girls?
I mean,
because I remember you had to have the same hairstyle back in like elementary school. What about middle school? What happened in middle school?
Yes, everyone shaved their head off.
In middle school?
Middle school and high school, yes.
Okay, so starting in middle school, they shaved your head.
Yeah,
it's as short as like a boy's hair.
Right, for school, everyone you have to be uniform because they say it mess with your concentration or mess with your education in a way. And so,
wait, having hair, having hair would.
Because you take so much time to go and have it done at a salon that you probably won't do your homework or just in the mirror looking at your hair. Oh my God, and styling it and all this stuff, and you don't.
Or maybe it'll make you think you look good, and so you might spend too much time with boys or something.
That too. But it still happens even with the short hair. That still happens.
Right.
So yeah. So that did not help anything.
Interesting.
Yeah, they have
could not see that here. Saying, okay, girls, you're all gonna have to shave your heads.
I don't know if you're like
Imagine that in the U.S., even in a private school.
Yeah.
Never.
Private schools, however, they do have their hair done, and they have certain styles that they have to like with. But yeah, they are allowed to keep their hair.
Okay.
Private schools usually boys and girls for the most part.
Boys and girls in the private school, but same classes. Or just same school?
No, same classes and same rooms and stuff.
Okay, interesting. So, about the boys, were boys interested in you? Or were you interested in them?
Oh, I can tell you my first crush or the one that had a crush on me.
Wait, which is it?
I don't know how to say it. He toasted me.
Okay, the first boy who toasted you.
Love letters.
Okay.
So,
how old were you?
I was about 11.
Okay,
I was
how old was he?
Middle school. Maybe 13.
Okay.
Maybe 13. Yes. So, yeah, we live in our house, and he's close friend with now my brother-in-law, basically, you know, they're friends. And you know, their farm, they had a farm where they have pigs and chickens and stuff. So it's right next to our house. And it would see me and it was like, oh, hey girl. I'm sorry.
How would he speak? Yeah. How would he speak to you?
He tried to do the American, like.
But in Yoruba?
No, in English. He would do Nigerian English.
Okay.
Like, you know, try, because if you're speaking English, Nigerian, it means you're educated. So you have to try to show that you know something, you know. So like, hey girl, look into my eyes. What do you see? I'm like, your eyeballs. So anyways, what was his name? Ayodeji. And is now Wizkid.
Wizkid.
Yes,
okay.
It wasn't until.
I think a lot of people know Wizkid.
Yeah, no Wizkid, and it wasn't until like, is it 2019 or so, whatever. I don't remember when. Once it started, when my sister said, "Remember Ayodeji from our street is now Wizkid." I'm like, no way. And then you send me a link to a video or something like that. And that's when his first song, holla at your boy. If you see me on the street, holla at you. I'm like, oh my gosh. People will not believe this. They won't believe it.
So he's a big man now. Eh?
He's a big man now. But
well, good for him. Good for him. But hey, I think I'm the one who has the greatest wealth. I think he missed out on that. So hey, I count myself much more wealthy and much more successful than him.
Oh.
I got you in the end. So.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. I mean, well, my mom has always told us that stay away from boys because if they touch you, you get pregnant. So you know, even if we're saying all this stuff, I'm like, oh no, I need to stay away because my mommy has told me if a boy touches me, I get pregnant.
Like an octopus.
Yeah,
pregnant.
Yeah. So I was very,
that's a thing in nature. That's a thing in nature.
An octopus. Yeah. So I was very, very careful. It was, you know, the boy, you know, when we're coming from school, so we leave, the school closes at the same time, the boys' school, girls' school. So everyone moved out, like, you know, we're all going to our separate homes. You see boys too joining the queue and going to their homes on the streets and stuff. And of course, you see these boys toasting girls, and then girls, you know, walking all home with their boyfriends or whatever. And it's me and my best friend, Basirat, were there. And, you know, see this boy saying, oh, hey girl, let me talk to you, this and that. I'm like, don't even. I'm not taking, you know. Yeah. So me and my Basirat, we just ignore them when they talk. We just go out and we go to our house.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So, I guess another question that I have for you is, what did you appreciate most about Nigeria?
I appreciate or what I miss in Nigeria.
Either one, both.
Oh, I like not much of the weather that is always. What is beautiful Nubia said? The sun is like the second skin. Not like that heat is too much. It could be reduced a little bit. Anyway.
Don't think that's happening anytime soon. Yeah.
I guess I miss the fruit seasons and seasons when all these foods come out. The yam season, the agbalumo season, the corn season, sugarcane season. Well, that one's almost all year round. But there's so many seasons. You go to the market and there's all these fruits and vegetables and all these foods. And when we're coming back from school, you see us eating sugarcane, eating agbalumo, eating mango, eating left and right. Everything. It's just so awesome. I miss that. What do I appreciate about that is the country that is blessed with so much resources, and it has so much potential in the fact that, you know, you just throw tomato seeds out and it grows. You know, a lot of things grow and people take it for granted, you know. And I mean, here we are in the middle of Midwest. It's getting cold now. All of the things we were planting are now dying. And the season is like, April, May to September. Look at that tiny little season where it's almost all year round in places like Nigeria, and yet people are taking it for granted.
And then instead of having a yard or a garden, they just cover it in cement.
It's cement,
right?
and just make it look.
And then people are starving. People are starving when they could just throw out some seeds and suddenly they have at least, you know, half of their food just in their backyard. Yeah.
So that I mean, when the president of Nigeria said, President Buhari was saying, everyone, we need to go back to the land. It wasn't lying about that. That is true. That is true. You know, a lot of people who have graduated with double PhD, triple PhD, you know, if everyone can gather the resources and go back to throwing that tomato seed down and actually seeing what it's going to be, there'll be less starvation, right? There'll be less starvation, and people will actually, because if what my mom used to say, an hungry man is an angry man. If you have food in your belly, you're always, it takes a lot. It makes you a little bit happier. You're not always angry all the time. But if people can see that you know, Nigeria is a blessed country, to change the perspective about you know, things like that, maybe things could change. I don't know, but I miss, you know, I do miss a lot of those seasons where things just, you know, there's always this fruit and all these things to eat.
So when you were still in Nigeria, what did you think about America as a concept, as a place? Like, how did you view America, like in middle school, for example, high school?
When I was growing up, because my dad has already been in America, but yeah, it's been since middle school. He's been in America and working on how we can come here, and
working hard.
He was really hard. Yeah. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, he's in America. Every time we call him, oh, send us money. You know, we want money. He said, do you think money grows on a tree? Do you think everything's golden and all that stuff? Well, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I think the ground is paved in gold. It's like, if you want to go to heaven, go to America. America is heaven. Food, abundant. Hey, you know, money actually goes on trees. It's easy. Life
the roads are paved with gold. The toilets are gold.
It's so beautiful, and you don't have to work that much, but you have money, and life is just easy, and things.
And here your dad was working like 3 jobs, risking his life.
But he told us, but we didn't know.
It just didn't click.
It didn't click. Like it cannot be that hard. It's America. I've seen a Hollywood movie. Everything's beautiful. Don't tell me you're just you know. People think that people are lying to them, but it's not true.
You have to pay for everything.
Yeah,
the air you breathe.
You pay for everything. I think America. Oh, I remember. I actually told my friends. I remember Basirat will probably remember, and all of our cousins, and they probably, if you watch, you will remember. I told them, Superman is real. I actually believed it was real, and I'm like, I told them, one day I will marry Superman. You watch. You wait. Oh, there's a bug there.
Yeah.
I actually told them I will marry Superman. I remember my friend Basirat and one other, and Adetutu. She was like, no, you will not marry Superman. I'm like, you watch and wait. I will marry Superman. Yes, I did marry my Superman.
Yes. Well, I mean, yeah, what did...
I thought it was flying, like it could fly and save the people and do all that. I thought it was real. So,
well, I don't know if I can do that. But oh yeah, and kind of related to that. So what did your grandmother say? Because she kind of thought you were gonna marry, like before you moved to the US. She kind of thought you might marry.
I don't know why they think that. I don't understand why they would think that. You know.
Well, didn't you like talk about it all the time?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, she said, well, do not marry Oyinbo. Oyinbo means a foreigner, basically in Nigeria. Everyone knows Oyinbo. Yeah, don't marry Oyinbo man because I cannot, because she's illiterate. She didn't go to school. Like, I cannot speak English. I'm like, if you have to talk, if you go to airports, what would you tell people to locate where you're supposed to go? bring interpret, she said. Give me interprets.
Bring interprets.
Interprets. Because she cannot speak English.
Yeah.
He said, see, how would I talk to my in-law when I cannot speak English? You know.
Yeah, or to her grandchildren, right? Isn't that what she said?
Right. That she won't be able to speak with them.
And now I was actually able to greet her over the phone and talk to her in
Yorùbá. I wish that happened.
And our children were able to talk to her. Yeah.
Yes.
That was
it was a happy moment. But yeah, the perspective of America was a totally different one. And then we arrived in New York. It was in June of 2017. And I was thinking that the ground would be gold and everything.
Right.
We left the airport in New York, and it smelled like Lagos. And it was a little bit cold.
So Lagos, if anyone's been to like Charleston, South Carolina, or someplace like that, they'll know what that smells like. It's like paper mills, lagoons. It's kind of poopy
water.
Smelling. Yeah, it's not that great.
That's what I smelled. I'm like, that must not be America. It should be gold everywhere. Why is it smelling like Lagos? It doesn't make sense. It's a little bit cold, and I see, you see this homeless. It was a little bit. I'm like, no, this must
kind
not
of shocking.
Be real. It was shocking.
Like, okay, it's not clean, it's not shining, it's not,
Well, that
place.
That was the first hit of reality that I got. And then we arrived in Louisiana, and I remember my dad had to sit us down. This is America. You pay for everything. If anyone's telling you something is free, they're lying, there's a catch. Even the air that you breathe, you pay for it. Water, you pay for it. Anything, you have to pay for it. So now, people who are in Nigeria, they think it's nice and free and everything is cheap and money grows on tree. When they come here, they see this life and they have to use all of the money that they'll sweat so much to get to pay bills. They will understand how hard it is. It's not easy at all. It's not easy.
Speaking of that, let's back up a little bit. So I think a lot of people don't really know how difficult it is to get to the U.S. legally, it takes a lot of work, especially if you're not on a country that's bordering the United States. It's a lot harder.
Yes.
So kind of how did that work? If you were to try to kind of condense that a little bit.
It was very difficult. It takes about 4 or 5 times going to the embassy and being rejected, and you have to pay by then it was $80 to $100 per person, and it was 4 of us. So every time, that's how
but
much
to
we
get
to
to that point, your dad had already had to be working in the United States.
And he filed for us.
But he had to get legal residency first, right? So he had to get a green card.
Right.
Then once those 5 some odd years were up, then he was able to try to file for you all, and it's not immediate, right? It's not okay, you're a legal resident, you can then bring your wife and kids.
Yes.
No.
It was, they'll say this document is not complete, come back the other time. But there's no refund. They didn't refund the money.
And you'd have to travel all the way to Lagos.
Yes, we live in Ogun State. So it was about almost an hour and a half. Minutes, and Lagos, the traffic and all the craziness. Oh my gosh, it's really awful. You don't want to live in Lagos.
And the money would have been like several $100s, American dollars, right?
Oh yeah, they only accept American dollars,
right? Which would have been a good bit of money.
Oh yes, every time, 4 times. Yes.
Wasn't that like a year's salary for your mom or something?
More than
a year's salary just for one person.
Yes.
And then if you got something wrong on your documents, all of that money's gone and you have to restart.
It's not refundable.
And you did that 3 times?
3 times. And the 4th time is when we were approved. They said,
Well, before then, I mean, just traveling to Lagos wasn't safe all the time, right?
Oh gosh, it wasn't. One of the times we traveled, one of the bus had a problem with the rotor or something like that.
Axle.
The axle, right? Yes. Tumbled.
The axle broke or
broke
something?
Off in the middle of the road, yes. Broke off, tumbled, all the people sitting by the window seat scraped on the road. And
because there was no seatbelt or anything.
No seatbelt or anything. We're thankful nothing happened to us. Yeah, it slipped in the middle of the road. So ever since then, we've been so scared to take bus.
Not a lot of maintenance going on there.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
So then after the 3rd time, then your dad was like, okay, I'm I'm gonna come in
Yes,
person.
so he came in person. I mean, he wasn't allowed to go into the interview room with us,
Right.
but his presence, like telling them I'm right here in Nigeria and I have a green card, and
Right.
yeah, and he has all the.
Well, he also
the
got a
documents.
letter from the
It got a,
representative, right?
from a state representative, and yeah, and they
In
said
Louisiana.
in Louisiana, and they said, okay, you're we are approve of you bringing your family here, and that helped us, and it brought us. It let the embassy know that okay, this is not like one of those, this is for real. So so that helped us, and they gave us the visa, and it was good.
So okay. So now going ahead, once you finally came to the U.S., you talked about your first perception of the U.S. via New York.
Yes.
And so, what are some of the things that stood out to you most
In New York.
in general in the U.S.?